Hey everyone, this is Kelly Janae with Ethereal Ecology, and you are watching the Reducing the Dosage series. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh woman, oh human being. This is not easy. Okay, so I'm at 10.5 milligrams. I've been at 10.5 milligrams for about a week, because I'm going down by half a milligram every week, dissolving my 100 milligram tablets into a compounding solution. And I guess I'm at 10.5-ish milligrams because it's a little bit difficult to be extremely exact when the syringe you're using is only exact to, 0.2 milliliters. But, yeah, a lot has been happening in terms of my process and symptoms of withdrawal and how I'm working through whatever's coming up, and so I'll just go right into it. Where I'm at right now is just recognizing that there's been this fatigue, this really, like I'm getting really tired. Really, it's not, I don't want to say really tired really fast, but it kind of feels like my energy is depleted quicker than perhaps it used to, and I suppose you can attribute that to a lot of things. I mean, in general, I would say that I'm just freaking tired. I'm tired. I'm emotionally tired. I'm physically tired. I've finally started to sleep better since I moved into my new house. I was having trouble sleeping for months and months and months, dealing with some insomnia. So maybe I've just been catching up on my sleep a lot, but it's like I'll do a task, I'll do my yoga in the morning, or I'll make lunch, or I'll be reading, and I'll just realize after the task, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so tired, to the point where I just want to lay down and sleep and rest and really rest, which and maybe that's just me being more mindful of what my body needs, because I traditionally would just charge forward through the day, just all my energy, boom, 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 boom. But, that's just not working for me anymore. At least not lately. Sometimes it's hard for me to just, go on a walk because I get really tired. And it's actually been a little bit concerning because I'm like, oh no, do I have, an autoimmune disorder or anything? I doubt it. But I really just think it's fatigue from emotional fatigue, physical, whatever. And I also noticed today, this weird brain, the brain is doing weird chemically things, I'm getting these, in the middle of the day around the time when I'm supposed to take my medication, I get this, sort of feeling in my head like I'm having a caffeine or a sugar withdrawal. I don't drink caffeine and I don't eat sugar, so it's neither of those things. But it feels like that, just irritability, what is happening in my brain? I gotta do something about this. I gotta cover it up somehow. And, I have a tendency sometimes to, overeat a little bit. And that, I realize, is, there's a lot with that. But, so I have to, basically, you have to be so constantly vigilant in this process. There's just, these little triggers that'll come up, and they can easily overtake you and cause you to do things that aren't good for you, habits that don't benefit you, things you don't really want to do, but because you don't want to deal with the situation at hand, which really is an emotional thing going on, you just cover it up. And it just, you have to be mindful and aware and tell yourself, no, I'm not going to do that right now. Instead, I'm going to focus on the issue at hand. I'm going to lay here and I'm going to be sad and I'm going to just let it happen. And so along those veins, I would say that the biggest thing that I've been focusing on with this current round of reducing the dosage, and honestly, up until the end of my life, I imagine that this will be such an important thing. But in the previous episode, I was talking about emotions and about the importance of releasing those in order to move through the issues that we are going through, and the thought patterns that we're stuck in, the physical issues that we're having, etc. But I've really, really dived deep into this concept of the emotional body and learning emotional intelligence, true emotional intelligence. being able to actually name my emotions and to accept my emotions, welcome them, work with them, rather than rejecting them or expressing them just out of, like, utter need, because they need to be expressed, and then you do embarrassing things, or you express them in an immature way, and it's just really not a healthy way to live your life. So I've been reading this book by Karla McLaren. It's called The Language of Emotions. And I'm going to do a book review about this book because it is absolutely incredible. This woman, I mean, I'm not even going to start about the book, but anyways, the emotional healing piece. If there's anything that I've learned throughout this process, it's that this mental illness is an emotional illness. That the reason why it surfaced in the first place, why I got so out of balance, is because I was never taught to deal with my emotions. Not just deal with them, but work with them, because they're not bad. Emotions aren't bad. Anger, sadness, grief, confusion, rage, joy, happiness, they're all one and the same. They're all different functions of our cognition that are here to tell us how to move through the world, because we're feeling beings. We're not just thinking beings, and we're not just spirits in physical bodies. We're feeling beings. And the only way through our issues, quote unquote, is to work through them like a buffalo stampedes through the storm. You gotta go through the emotion to get the freak out of it. And how the heck do you do that if you don't even know what you're feeling? I was watching a previous episode of my Reducing the Dosage series today and realizing that the way that I was speaking about my emotions was very, it was very limited, and it was very, like, elementary. And really, we were basically told by society and forced by, our structures that we live in, not to feel our emotions and not to know our emotions or name them or work through them or be honest about them. By the time we're like 5 years old. So think about that. Our emotional intelligence as a culture is essentially that of a freaking child, of a 5-year-old. Meanwhile, our intelligence, our one of our intelligences, our intellectual intelligence, is fired up to the degree where we're having mental illness problems because the brain is not supposed to work 100% of the time. It's only a fraction of the intelligence and the intellect and the experience that we have within us, that we are capable of having. And so, yeah, I've been going through this emotional work that Karla outlines in this book, and going through these exercises of really, like, releasing and crying and learning how my emotions help me, how they're my allies. And it sounds very, basic, but this is difficult work. It's difficult work because I'm encountering, but it's also really rewarding work because I'm encountering this stuck energy that's, like, been keeping me depressed or feeling dissatisfied, and realizing, oh, that's literally grief of me, like, a part of me dying in order for me to move forward through this process. Like, there's so much going on with this process of getting off of this medication. There's the physical side effects, there's the emotional side effects, and then there's the catching up to all the emotions that I've repressed over my entire lifetime that are coming up, that I now need to maturely and skillfully master how to deal with that when it comes up, rather than repressing it, holding on to attachments, avoidance mechanisms, addictions. No, that's not what I want. I don't want to be distracted. I want to be a full human being. And it's a full body experience, it's a full mind experience, it's a full heart experience, and it is exhausting. It's exhausting. Honestly, one of the biggest lessons that I've been learning right now to sum all this up is that this process of healing, this process of getting off of bipolar medication, is a process of being 100% honest with yourself. with myself about all of the things about myself that I don't like, the things about myself that I don't accept and don't love yet. Because if I was to sit here and say, oh, so just have self-love and self-compassion, it's not that easy. It's a choice that we make. And we can't make it unless we accept that, wow, no, like, there's a part of me that still hates myself. There's a part of me that's absolutely shameful and embarrassed of my body, my mind, my mistakes. And self-acceptance and acceptance in general, I'm finding is perhaps one of the most profound and helpful and important spiritual goals that is going to get me out of this prison. So, this is a courageous journey, and I know that people can do it, but we, those of us who have the strength and the courage and have had the privilege of being set up with previous experiences that have allowed us to actually learn techniques and tools and be connected to communities who are also sort of more progressive, more conscious. We have a responsibility to do this work inwardly so that we can support people outwardly. The only way that I can heal others is by healing myself. Is by being, I guess, a role model, and by moving through this, I can truthfully and honestly be there for other people. And I really appreciate you watching this series of me just, like, opening my heart and my mind and, my soul to you, to all of you, about this shitty process and also all of the amazing things that are coming of it. Because there are a lot of amazing things all the time, every day. It's a miracle. So I'm going to stop talking because I could talk forever about this topic, which consumes much of my life. I love you all very much, and we'll see what happens next. Much love.